They always called her the class loser, the girl who wore thrift store sweaters, sat alone at lunch, and spoke so softly that people forgot she existed. Back then, Emily Carter believed them. She believed she was small, invisible, forgettable. So when a sleek white envelope arrived in her mailbox 10 years later, class of 2015 reunion, her heart sank before she even opened it. But the message inside was worse. Screenshots from the old class group chat, her name circled, laughing emojis. A joke, let's invite her for entertainment. For a moment the sting of those familiar words returned. But 10 years changes people, especially someone who learned to rise quietly, steadily, without needing applause. Emily was no longer the lonely girl in hand-me-downs. She was the founder of a humanitarian tech company that built low-cost emergency housing across disaster zones. She'd spent years helping strangers who had nothing to offer her except gratitude. She wasn't going to the reunion for revenge. She was going to remind herself how far she'd come. So on a warm Friday evening, as her former classmates gathered at the lakeside venue, gossiping and waiting for their big joke to arrive, the sky trembled. A thundering roar cut through the air. Heads snapped upward. Dresses whipped in the wind. Someone yelled, "What is that?" A black helicopter circled once, then lowered elegantly onto the landing pad beside the event lawn. The doors slid open, and the woman they once mocked stepped out, calm, graceful, and entirely unrecognizable. Except for her smile. Her kindness had never changed. For a full 10 seconds no one moved. The helicopter's blade slowed, the wind settled, and Emily walked forward with a calm confidence that felt almost unreal to those who remembered her differently. Sparkling gowns and perfectly tailored suits shifted aside as she approached. Each step measured, elegant, unhurried. "Is that Emily Carter?" someone whispered. "No way. She was supposed to be the joke," another muttered, half stunned, half embarrassed. Emily heard every word, just like she used to. But this time it didn't crush her. She had survived far harsher voices in war-torn villages and disaster zones. Petty whispers felt small compared to the stories she'd lived, the people she'd fought to protect. As she reached the registration table, the former class queen, Madison Hale, forced a tight smile. She had been the loudest voice in the group chat. "Emily, wow, look at you, we didn't expect—" Her voice trailed off as she took in the tailored navy jumpsuit, the polished composure, and the quiet strength Emily carried like a second skin. "I'm happy to be here," Emily replied warmly, and she meant it. Her smile wasn't a weapon, it was genuine kindness, the kind that made Madison's stomach twist with guilt. Inside the venue, conversations hushed as Emily entered. Some stared, some avoided eye contact. A few offered hesitant smiles, but one person, Daniel Brooks, the shy kid who used to tutor her in math, stepped forward with a grin that reached his eyes. "It's really good to see you," he said. "You too," she replied softly. And for the first time that night, Emily felt something true. Maybe this reunion wasn't just a test of who she had become. Maybe it was a chance to heal old versions of everyone in the room. The music hummed softly in the background as Emily moved through the room, politely accepting compliments she knew were laced with curiosity. She didn't hold it against them. People change, but memories don't update instantly. Still, she could sense the tension. Admiration tangled with shame. Surprise mixed with old habits. Madison lingered near the buffet table, pretending to check her phone. Emily approached gently. "Thank you for organizing tonight," she said. Madison blinked, startled. You're thanking me?" "Of course," Emily smiled. "Reunions take a lot of work." Madison's mask cracked. "Emily, we didn't invite you to be kind, She exhaled. Shakily, eyes darting to the floor. "Some people thought it would be funny." Emily didn't flinch. "I know." Madison's eyes widened. She looked young suddenly, no longer the confident queen bee, just a woman carrying guilt she didn't know how to put down. I'm sorry," she whispered. Emily placed a gentle hand on her arm. "Thank you, that means more than you think." The room seemed to soften around them. Later, during the slideshow of old-school photos, someone called out, "Emily, remember your speech impediment? You barely talked." A few laughed, reflexively, not cruelly, but out of old habit. Emily walked toward the microphone before anyone could intervene. The room stilled. "I was quiet back then," she said calmly. "But not because I was weak. I was trying to survive things none of you knew about. And sometimes, silence is just someone trying to hold themselves together." A hush fell. Even the projector's hum felt loud. Emily continued, voice steady, compassionate, not accusing, just honest. "But I'm here tonight because people can grow, all of us." She stepped back, and something profound shifted in the room. After Emily's words, the room didn't return to its old energy. It couldn't. Something had cracked open, an uncomfortable truth, but also a space for change. People approached her one by one. A guy who used to flick paper at her during history class. A girl who once spread rumors about her family. Another who never noticed she existed. None offered excuses, only small, quiet apologies that came from the kind of reflection only adulthood forces on people. Emily accepted each one with grace, not because they deserved it, but because she refused to carry their past any longer. But it was when Daniel stepped onto the small stage that the night shifted again. He tapped the mic nervously. "Can I say something?" he asked. The crowd murmured. Emily watched him, curious. "Back in school," Daniel began, "Emily was the only person who sat with me when I got bullied. She didn't say much, but she didn't have to. She made me feel human." Murmurs spread. No one had known. And while the rest of us were trying to look cool, Emily grew up and, well, made the world better. He gestured toward her. "Some of you mocked her for coming in a helicopter, but the truth is, she's been saving lives, literally." Gasps, turning heads, a ripple of shame and admiration rolled across the room. Daniel's voice softened. "We invited her to make fun of her, but she showed up and reminded us who we should have been all along." Emily's throat tightened. She wasn't someone who cried easily, but this kindness she had given the world finally echoing back, felt overwhelming. And for the first time that night, the entire room looked at her not with disbelief, but with respect. When the applause ended, it wasn't the loud, superficial clapping of old popularity contests. It was real, warm, humble, grateful. Emily felt the weight she'd carried for years loosen, not because people finally recognized her, but because she had faced the place where she once felt smallest, and stood tall. As dinner wrapped up, the class gathered outside near the lake for photos. The air was cooler now, calm, with a soft breeze brushing across the water. Someone asked Emily to stand in the center of the group picture. She hesitated, old instincts urging her to step aside. But this time, Daniel gently nudged her forward. "You belong here," he whispered. The flash went off, capturing a moment 10 years in the making. Afterwards, Madison approached again, no makeup, perfect confidence this time, just sincerity. "Emily, I'm volunteering now," she said quietly. "I work with kids at a shelter, but tonight made me realize I need to do more. I don't want to be the person I was." Emily smiled. "Then don't be. Growth starts wherever you stand." Madison exhaled shakily, relief filling her eyes. As people drifted away, Emily walked toward the helicopter pad. She wasn't escaping, just heading back to the life she built with her own hands. But before she boarded, she paused and turned around. Dozens of her classmates waved, not mocking, not judging, just human. Emily lifted a hand in return, feeling something unexpected, hope, not for herself, but for them. The helicopter rose into the sky, its lights cutting through the night. Down below, the reunion continued with softer voices, kinder hearts, and a story none of them would ever forget. They invited her as a joke. She left as their reminder that kindness is never weakness, it's power,